me for my voice, but I have never seen anything like it.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Zimmel. Very busy podcast day, if you don't already know. If you haven't been to the page yet, a lot of content up for you guys, going from Brady and Belichick split to the best players of the 2000s to TV shows that we're watching during this quarantine. If you're like me, this quarantine has been rough to say the least, but thankfully we have good TV shows to lean on. This TV show, different, to say the least. I've seen shows similar to this before. I've seen shows that try to recreate something like this before, but nobody's done it better than Dave Birds or should I say Lil Dicky, in the group over there at FXX. Now, I've talked about this before. I've said, look, I'm not getting paid to continue to promote and sponsor Hulu and FXX and Disney Plus. I'm just telling you that this feels like the best deal right now. Even though they have the commercials, even though all this stuff that people might not love, I gotta give it to them. They've really been doing a good job keeping me entertained. So, let's talk about Dave, a show unlike any other, to say the least. So, the show opens up with Lil Dicky. Dave is in the doctor's office getting his penis examined. So, let me set the scene. I'm watching this show for the first time. I'd listened to Lil Dicky's music before. Like every white guy going into college, I remember his mixtapes. I remember his first album, I think, came out in like 2016, right around the same time I was going into college. So it was a perfect match. I've been following this guy's career for the last 4 years, and it just, he does something different. He's a satirical rapper. Like a lot of white guys seem to be in the rap game. I never will claim to be a hip-hop perfectionist. I'll never claim to be a person who knows more than hip-hop than anybody else, because that's not me. I don't know. I just know what I like. I know what I don't like. Okay? Lil Dicky falls into the two categories that you have of white rappers, from my experience. There's two categories of white rappers. It's the lyrical white rappers, who will try to out-bar you, out-spit you. They're going to say as many words as quickly as possible. Think Eminem now. And then there's the satirical rappers. The guys that are going to try to make jokes. The guys who really clown on themselves. They know that they're corny. They know where they fit, what lane they're in. Think about Eminem in the 90s. That's how I break this up. You got Eminem today versus Slim Shady making jokes. That is how I think every white rapper is. Lil Dicky, of course, leans to the satirical side. Thus, a show that focuses on comedy. Now, coming into this show, he had told his fans, his dickheads or whatever you want to call yourselves, he told his fans that I'm focusing on a TV show. It's going to be on FX. Focusing on that, that's why you guys don't get new music. He's put out 2 singles since then. He put out Freaky Friday with Chris Brown. He put out Earth, which is this single that was supposed to raise money for global warming awareness. Everybody liked it for about 2 months, and then people just forgot about it, I guess, because I still see people throwing plastic bags away. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Well, sure. So he told us that this is what he was focusing on, so I came in with a critical eye. Because if this show stunk, I was going to be pissed. I was going to say to myself, this is what I'm missing music on. I can easily forget about what this guy's doing. There's plenty of other rappers out there for me to listen to. There's plenty of other podcasts, music to be put out. I don't need to be focusing and hung up on Lil Dicky if he's not going to give me good content. But this TV show surprises me. Because the same way, and this is a comparison that I'm making, and I know that you shouldn't take it lightly, and I know that it is not at that level yet, but think about Seinfeld early on. The show, not the comedian, the show. Think about Seinfeld early on, how in the, I want to say third or fourth season, Jerry and George, who, if you don't watch Seinfeld, you're not going to get this reference. But Jerry and George working on the pilot for NBC. And how it's a show within a show, kind of within a show, almost. And it's an interesting concept. But what draws me to that comparison, what makes me think about that comparison, is that this TV show is about Dave working on becoming Lil Dicky. There's a struggling, satirical rapper who mostly does his stuff online, who really hasn't blown up yet, who has a long way to go before he reaches stardom, working on becoming the next big thing, becoming on the next big rapper. Because Lil Dicky right now, currently, off the TV show, currently is in that weird spot between being a guy who is going to be known for this comedy show, be known for being a comedian, or you're a comedian first, a rapper second, and becoming a serious rapper. Because there are people, myself included, who have heard him on mixtapes, who have heard him on other projects, in interviews, rapping pretty well. Doing a pretty decent job of making compelling rap music from my point of view. So he's in the crossroads of his career. Dave Bird's in the show, Lil Dicky in the show, kind of in that same crossroads, where nobody really takes him seriously. His girlfriend, kindergarten teacher, knows that he's a rapper, knows that he's an internet phenom, kind of is like, this is cool, but is this like the career? Is this the thing that is going to put money in the bank, put food on the table? Or is this just a side project? This is just a little fun you're having on the side. I think that a lot of people look at their spouse, look at their significant other like that. That, oh, you want to quit your job and do what? Make woodwork? You sure? Got a pretty good job right now, honey. Is that really the right career move? Is that really the move that you want to make? And then I think that his girlfriend has those stipulations right now. But this show, hands down, hilarious. Unlike Devs, unlike 11/23/63, both TV shows that I broke down today, unlike those two shows that are more serious, more melodramatic, this show's a laugh a minute. I have not laughed out loud as much for any other comedy that is on TV. This is the first comedy that I've actually given a real shot to as well. That I didn't think that... I don't think that TV, I don't think cable comedies are as good as they once were. I'm one of those weird, snickery guys. Like, I think Sunny in Philadelphia is an outlier. I think Broad City is an outlier. I think most of these shows aren't very good. And this one not only surprises me, but I think does an incredible job of taking the audience to where Lil Dicky, the rapper, in real life is currently in his career. And that's hard to do. The writing on the show as well, pretty interesting. I don't know who the writers of the show are. I think that it's mostly Lil Dicky. I think he is the one that's dictating most of the creative process. But I'll give it to him. Very impressive stuff he's been able to do with the show. I am still really surprised. And just like Devs, where I mentioned it on that podcast about how it's a show that only comes on Hulu and FXX. You can watch it in real time or you can wait for it to come on the app. Once it comes out, though, it's a weekly thing. You can't binge every episode in one sitting. You have to wait for it to come out. And I said that I thought that this is the future of streaming. I thought that HBO and Game of Thrones did it really well, that everybody was connected, everybody was attached on Sunday night. This show clearly is not that big yet. It's not at that level. People aren't talking about it on Twitter and Facebook as much as Game of Thrones. Well, that's obvious. Game of Thrones, once in a generation type of show. Both these shows in their infant stages. That said, it's impressive that I am connected to it every single week, that I have to watch it every single week, that it's a show that I have to put time out of my day to watch it, because I can't go an entire week without it. That is the making of a good show. It's only a couple episodes in, and it's already got my attention. And I think that the core audience for the show are going to be 18 to 35, 18 to 25-year-old white guys, college-age guys who are going to watch this show. It's going to take a lot for my parents to watch it. It's going to take a lot for my grandparents to watch it. I don't think this show's built for them. I think this show's built for a younger audience. I think this show's built for an audience that's going to be knowing the references. You've already seen a couple rappers make appearances on it. Young Thug, Trippie Redd, Macklemore, to a lesser extent, all have made appearances on the show. I'm hoping that as the show continues to get bigger and bigger, we get more and more well-known rappers coming on the show. How much fun would it be to see a Drake, to see a Kendrick Lamar, a J. Cole come on the show? That's really what I'm hoping for, that this show can develop into. This is another one of those shows. I highly, highly, highly recommend. Give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's unlike anything else. I strongly recommend it. That's going to do it for this show. Tune in tomorrow when we talk about the NL West preview. Of course, we're going to have Alexander Haynes come on the show later this week to talk to us about the coronavirus and an update on our current state of affairs. So be looking out for that content. Also, listen to all the other great content on the podcast page. Stay clean, wash your hands, stay away from people, and I will hopefully talk to you guys tomorrow.